Back, yeah, creative writers. I'm Kauffman, and this is your daily dose of writing motivation to help you with the process, lifestyle, and mindset that it takes to write a book or script. So, welcome because we're starting right now. Today is episode 217 of Kauffman Writes, day 292 of consecutive writing live streams. And we're going to be doing two writing sprints today. We'll be doing two shorter writing sprints, 20 minutes apiece. I have to be out under the hour so I can attend to our fiction contest critiques. So we're going to be doing two writing sprints and then one break with the question that I pose to you. And we'll be chatting about this on the break after our first writing sprint, our question of the day. Debunking the myth of vulnerability and writing. What does it mean to be vulnerable as a writer? And then how do we be vulnerable while still being able to tell our stories and not feeling less than, minimized, or worse about ourselves when sharing our vulnerabilities with the world? So we'll be chatting about that during the break. I would love to hop into the comments. And Bobby, first, once again, welcome back, my friend. 26, 25 words as of now. Congratulations. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Absolutely love to hear that, my friend. And Miss Courtney Stevenson, great job. I'm excited to hear the stories today. Absolutely. So I'm like, stories. I'm like, which stories? I'm pretty sure tomorrow's our critique show. So stories tomorrow, but I have an exciting moment with Scarecrow and Crow. So clearly I'm going to be writing some awesome stuff. ML, welcome, welcome. And Marta, welcome back to the community. Glad to have you guys here. And what's up? Awesome. So glad to have all you guys here. We're going to be hopping straight into our first writing sprint. So I have it all set up. It's going to be 20 minutes, super easy. Whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join me. I'll throw up our music, and Kauffman will be updating the music soon. When I start feeling like I'm getting bored of the music, it means that it's time for me to add a new playlist. So on my to-do list with the other 100 things, some more coming soon. But if you're not writing on your own stuff, feel free to read along as we figure out Scarecrow. He's just gotten his arm back in the middle of a blizzard, in the middle of a severe blizzard. Does he go to the cave or does he respond to Crow's call and cry for help? The only instigator who's antagonized him from the very beginning. So we're starting, and let me pull up my stuff. So I got 20 minutes on the clock. I have the music and I'm all set. All right, so 20 minutes, and let me throw up the banner. Perfect. And it's time to write now. right. And writing sprint done, writing sprint done. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So we made some absolutely great progress. I feel like I was like Scarecrow and was basically racing after Crow. And it was interesting. I had him, I really wanted to play up his sense of his determination to go help this bird who's really been terrorizing him the first couple of chapters. Um, I have to really think about it and see if I like that line of reasoning. I'm using basically a distant memory as a reminder that he has a sense of morality. I might tie it into something deeper. I think I might want to tie it in a little deeper to what some of what he's experienced so far. But yeah, I might do it differently, but so far, I think I like this direction. Now, the rest of the chapter I think is actually gonna be pretty more editing because I actually know I'm gonna add another layer of foreshadowing on. But essentially, he made the decision, so now he's like, "Oh, look, I'm gonna pull the coat over my head." Smart move, Scarecrow. As he's basically trudging up the hill, and then on the other side, he sees a large creature, or I'll probably say he sees like the outline of a creature, um, large creature over the sound of where he's hearing the crow calling out. So he's all so far we've seen him just start charging down the hill. So we'll see how that turns out. Definitely very, very good. Hey, what's up, TR? Welcome, welcome, my friend. So, as I think about today, and let's see, so we'll spend a little time. I got about 30 minutes. So, I'll spend a couple minutes on our question of the day. And this is just something that came to mind as I think about debunking the myth of vulnerability and writing. Now, I hear this all the time from writers, especially when writers send their stories in to be edited by other editors, readers, or other people in general, or when they first put their stories out in the world, they start getting this fear that, oh, once I put it out, I have this like fear, this nervousness, this anxiousness, this energy. It's a negative type of energy that makes us feel concerned of how it's going to be received. Now, this might have happened to you the first time you sent it to someone, whether it was myself, another editor, or somebody else altogether. As I've seen this very similar feedback, as I've seen this very, very similar type of, I would say, fear, concern, anxiety happen before, and I've seen it posted on socials. It makes me realize that it's a direct or an indirect result of sharing our vulnerability. Anything that we write, anything, whether you're writing a true story about your battle with cancer or whether you're writing a fantasy story about Dungeons and Dragons, regardless of the material, it writing is a form of being vulnerable. Creating words, telling stories is you pulling material experiences, things from within and sharing it and putting it out into the world. The one thing that we do not like is we do not like being vulnerable and then having that vulnerability either dismissed or minimized by others. The reason we feel that initial fear or anxiety when we first put it out to readers, editors, whoever, is because if it comes to us, we're like, okay, if I've been vulnerable and I put it out there, and if they don't like it, that's going to make me feel worse about myself. Now, it also could be the time factor. The time factor could be a huge element of, okay, if I put it out there, I don't want to feel that my time has been wasted. If I've been working on this book for 5 years, I don't want 5 years to feel like a waste of time. It's understandable. What I will always challenge you with, regardless of what point of the life process you are at, is accepting and looking at yourself in the mirror and recognizing that it is all right to be vulnerable. First off, it's all right to be vulnerable. Ah, there we go. Mm, okay. Mm. So it's accepting, looking at yourself in the mirror, and being all right to be vulnerable, first off. and recognizing that when you're vulnerable and when you put yourself out into the world, that it is all right that people might respond to it positively or negatively. The key, and this is the trick to it all, is how can you detach yourself from the vulnerability of your writing? It's a whole self-esteem thing. There's like a whole, probably a lot of therapy involved. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's not something that some people it takes a lifetime to figure this type of thing out for themselves because we all have different experiences, different journeys. But understanding that when we can detach ourselves from our work, not saying don't love it, not saying don't feel a way about it, but when we can detach ourselves in a way so that way, even if somebody says, best piece of thing in the world I've ever read, or somebody says, this is the worst garbage I've ever read in the entire universe of writing, that your self esteem will not be affected as a direct or indirect result of what you put out. So that is really the key and that's the trick. But trying to do that, trying to figure out the process to do that, that in itself is the work. It's easy to say like, okay, yeah, I'm just not going to feel bad if somebody says my work sucks. Easy to say in theory, difficult to execute in practice. And that is why I will always be a proponent of a mental health therapy and being able to be communicative, having a support network, regardless of where you're at in life, whether you're at an all-time high and everything's working out, or whether you're at an all-time low. So that's something that I wanted to touch upon because I've seen it quite a number of times over the past couple of weeks, and it's such a great conversation to have. That's Mary. Like I'm having a moment. Where do we send the revision for use the original? Mary, great question for the fiction contest. You can feel free to just email it to me. Is fine because I'm gonna have to edit it regardless. So you can just email it to me. No worries. Marta, thanks for sharing that. You're like, that's what I told Kauffman today. I was sure about my story and releasing it to readers will not change it because I don't really mind the negative opinions. I do only when I care about someone's opinion. That's a really good point. So, and this goes into especially when you start networking with other authors, networking with other writers who either have a history or further along in their journey or different parts, and you respect their opinion. And I think it still goes hand. It's still the same, but then we end up placing these opinions on a pedestal, and that pedestal ends up being able to affect our own self-esteem. But I totally hear you, Marta, and I really want to say that I appreciate your vulnerability because that's a hard thing to do for some people. Absolutely, and you're absolutely not alone. I've gotten that from so many writers before. A lot of the times, whenever I end up doing editing work, a lot of the times I'll always hear that of like, oh, I'm so nervous about the result, about the circumstance, or about how it might be received. So I totally understand that. I'm sure I will feel something very similar when the last Scarecrow is sent out, or maybe I won't. I'm actually not sure. It's one of those things I won't know until I send it out. Self-esteem with my writing for me personally has never been an issue. My self-esteem has always been an issue in other parts of my life, but not with my writing. I think that's something that I've just been very strong at it innately as it pertains to my writing because I have such a love for the process. And that's probably just something very unique about me personally. Let's see. Maybe it's bad to say as an author, but I don't care if some strange reader will just like my story. I mean, that's a good thing. It's actually that's a good thing to have in mind, Marta, to be all right with some stranger not liking your story. That is totally understandable. Third time is the charm. Yep. Love that. Mary is like, depends. If you're writing looking for validation, any creation could use a good dose of self-confidence. That's a really good point, Mary. John Lennon once said, "It works because we said it works." Absolutely love the quote. Mary, I continue to love the quotes that you share. You always have some really phenomenal quotes that you share. But I completely agree. I love John Lennon. And I think understanding why we are writing is another question. Ask yourself in that process, right? If we understand why we're writing, then understanding that helps us to better weigh our expectations in the process of feedback and how we think people may or may not perceive our work. If I ask and respect someone's opinion, I take it as a caring gesture. If they can offer critique, always learning. Absolutely. And I think I really appreciate that because it takes some people a really long while to get to that point of the process, especially in like critique groups or like I saw that at school so often. Maybe it could be a maturity thing, maybe it could be a lack of experience, but I think that's a really good call out. And I think that's also can be healthy to have multiple points of views about it as well, and recognizing how how people may or may not perceive your work, especially whether it's friends, whether it's other readers or authors, or whether it's a greater readership of people you may not know yet. And that's very true. That is very true. Knowing that not every story is for every reader is so critical, especially when you're trying to find your readership. Especially when you are trying to find your readership, that is so important because you really have to target, and then especially if you're investing in advertising, you have to really target a specific type of reader and then putting yourself on platforms where that type of reader is going to want to read your type of writing. So that's a really great call out. Absolutely. And that's always a great thing to be aware of, especially if you're writing more niche content or you're writing more niche genres that may not be appeal to as much of a mainstream audience or readership. Like Marta, I think in my case, the aspect of talking about my book is the most stressful. Mm, because it Marta because it's such a process, or is it because you've invested so much time into it, or is it because you have certain expectations wrapped around the book? I think that's always a good thing to think about. Hey, what's up, Thunderchild? Welcome, my friend. I like the pick by the way. Is that? I'm pretty sure that's Avatar. I'm like looking at your Twitch icon. I'm almost positive that's the sister. I'm forgetting the sister's name from Avatar. I think it could be wrong, but I think that is. It's been a while. And hope all is well. Welcome to the community. Hope you're writing something cool today. You're welcome, Mikan. How can we build a good story with a single idea? Mikan, I love that. This is actually a beautiful question. All it takes is one great idea to build a story, to start with a story. It only takes one idea. I love that. Now, how do we go about it? That is the strategy. So, let's say you have a really good idea for something. Now, every writer has a little bit of a different process. I recommend check out different writers, check out different authors. My strategy, and this is what worked well for me, if I have an idea, I'll write it down. I'll write it down in like my list of like story ideas. Now, I have all these like different story ideas. I'm like, okay, this is an idea I like. Now, what I like to do for that idea, I'll take some time and think about it over the course of a few days, few weeks, or few months. And I'll think about what are different things that could help me bring that story to life. Maybe there are certain themes that I want to write about. Maybe there would be a certain character that would work well, or maybe I there's something that I really want to explore because I'm like, okay, there's something about that idea that I like. Now, if I was just going to hop into it, the Pantser style, I would just sit down, I'd have that idea, and I would just allow myself the freedom to write whatever comes to mind. It's I'm not going to weigh myself and think this has to be good, this has to be bad. I would just allow myself the freedom to write whatever. And then I would see what comes out. I would see, all right, maybe I write a few pages, maybe a few chapters, see what I get. And then as it evolves, and this is what I like to do, I like to incorporate themes that I love writing about. So for me with Last Scarecrow, it started off as an idea. Actually, it started off as a free write based off the picture in the background. And then after that, once I was about 5 or 6 chapters in, then I was like, okay, well, I've really been wanting to write a post apocalyptic type world. I love memories and I love the idea of exploring a world where all of the creatures in the world have slowly lost their memories. I wanted to bring a very almost like ominous, foreboding, yet hopeful resonant within it. And those are themes that I wanted to write about. I incorporate those into my story. And then characters, I think of what are fun character types that will help me bring the story to life. And then from there, I just keep adding and layering on things. I allow myself to try new things. And then if something doesn't work, that's all right. Because the rough draft is for us to just write and see what happens. So I think that's a really, really great call out, my friend. Thank you for that question. Now, let's see. What else do we got? Mary, like so much in our lives, when getting critique or criticism, consider the source. Absolutely. 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 Love that. And that's always interesting, right? Especially when we start by writing for ourselves and then we decide to publish it. Then we're like, okay, because now we're adjusting our expectations of what's going to happen as a result. LeBay, thanks for that, Azula. I was like, the name was on the tip of my tongue. I know. The Azula. My fellow Avatar fan over here. Yes, let's see. Marty, like first, my father's past. Second, my social anxiety as a horror I need to go through every day. This way, I have a half of horror novel already written. And it sounds like that's a really good strategy that works for you, since essentially you are going through the I think the memoir genre essentially. So, but then it's mixed with that psychological and that thriller aspect. So it sounds like you kind of find a balance between the two, which is cool. My pantser self has been asking myself, how did I write an 80,000 novel? Courtney, I was in the same exact position when I was working on Last Scarecrow. I thought Scarecrow was going to end at 80,000 and it ended at 140. When I started, I thought it was going to end at page 10. So there we go. That shows the evolution of writing. Mariak, I have a folder of ideas or ideas for possible writings. Not all will be stories. Some will be more essays or poems. My current work in process was inspired by a picture. Most are my haiku or from my pics, which that's actually really cool. So it sounds like you have a couple different strategies of pulling ideas for your storytelling, which is very, very, very fun. And thank you for sharing that. And by the way, now's a great time. If you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. We're here every day with the Right Now community for with writing sprints, writing community, author interviews, critique shows. We have our fiction contest next week. November's our choose your own adventure live events. We have so many guests, so many types of ways to connect with writers. So if tap those buttons, that follow button, that subscribe button, and you'll be alerted when we go live. Excellent. So I wanted to make sure to call that out. Now, with where we're at, I have only about 10 minutes. So I'm actually, for the first time, I'm not going to have enough time to go do a full on sprint because I have to be out right on the clock to cater to our fiction contest critiques. But I am going to just write. So you guys can keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm here. I got about 10 minutes left to write. So feel free to keep chatting or you can come chat or come write with me. Mary, like I wondered if would ever make it to 5,000. I'm up to 10,000 and have lots more to add. Total Pantser seems to be working. And I think this is the great thing. If something's working, keep doing it. Keep trying to do it for as long as possible until you reach your goal or until you hit an obstacle that you have to figure out how to overcome. And I think that's always a great strategy. I know. I guess I should probably turn on the music because I'm not doing an actual sprint now. I only have a few minutes. All right, here we go. You're like, it's too quiet. Here we go. I was like, I got 5 minutes. I just got into the story. I like I like that you guys are so used to the music. You're like, now it's too quiet when he's writing. I love it. I know because I always do music vibes. All right. I really wanted to finish this chapter, but clearly that's not on my schedule today. So, with that being said, let's real quick shout out as I look towards creative writing on the morrow, a couple call outs. Right Now Discord. If you have not joined the Right Now Discord, it is super active. We have only been out a few weeks. Highly, highly, highly recommend that you come join the Discord if you haven't, if you want to be able to chat with other writers daily. There's some absolutely great writers on there. So definitely come join the Discord. And then tomorrow is the next episode of the Story and Critique Show. If you need feedback on your story, submit now. Episode 31. This will be the last critique show until December because our November schedule is packed and I need to make more progress on Scarecrow. So, last critique show until December. I will not be able to get to all the submissions. So, if you have not already submitted, submit now. There might be a few, there might be a lot. I have not checked. So, definitely go submit. The link for both the Discord and the Story and Critique Show submission down in the YouTube description. So definitely go check it out, my friends. Tomorrow's critique show is always a fun one. And if you enjoyed the stream, tap the like button on the way out. Help us show the algorithms that writing streams are cool. All right, my friends. And I appreciate you. A little shorter today than usual. But like I said, I need to go attend to our critique show submissions. So definitely hop on the Discord and we can have some more conversations there. If you guys want to get some more writing in, go onto the Discord channel, go onto the writing sprint channel and go do some writing sprints together. That's what I'd recommend. Aw, Bomb, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for sharing that. You just want to say that I was inspired again by your streams, got more writing done, even though it's just 20 minutes a day. Yeah, today my writing sprints have been a little shorter because I'm a little bit more limited on time. But what I would say, let me pull up that banner. What I would say is come join us on the Discord if you want to come like chat with us. I'll throw it up over on Twitch since I know you're over there. But we have a lot of really cool writers there if you want to try to get some more motivation. Usually I try to get more than one sprint in, but like I said, today I'm a little limited on time. But I'm really glad that I've been able to help, or we've been able to help provide just a little bit of motivation. I think that's what we're all about, my friends. Emma, I hope that you have fun this evening. I'm sure that you'll be up to your eyeballs in edits. Yes, this is going to be a weekend full of editing, and that's not even counting all my other stuff I got going on. So thank you all for joining me. And that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kauffman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.